I'm James Chow. I'm honoured to introduce Tasmin Little, international concert violinist and China Current music contributor. You may remember Tasmin from one of our earliest episodes in which she recalled her visit to China in 1982 with Yehudi Menuhin, one of the great musicians of the 20th century. In her first interview for the China Current, she speaks with Reylon Yount, born in San Francisco and a leading player of the yangqin. Tasmin met Reylon through the City Music Foundation in London, which develops outstanding professional musicians early in their careers. This is their conversation.
There's a delicacy in the sound and there's a dignity to it as well that I really love. There's so much nature that seems to be associated with this instrument.
A lot of the pieces that we play have titles that reference images in nature. So Spirit of the Yellow Earth, Thunder After the Drought, Beautiful Flowers in the Full Moon. If you look at this instrument, I'll just tilt the camera so you can see got these beautiful designs of lilies, and the stand has bamboo leaves.
Reylon, I'm fascinated to hear about your education and that part of your journey.
I started learning yangqin at the Chinese American International School after school, and then I started taking private lessons at the Chinese Arts and Music Center in San Francisco. I was very lucky because the Central Conservatory of Music in Beijing began hosting Chinese instrument grade exams and competitions. So just as I was becoming more advanced, I had these outlets to really push myself. After that period of competing, my teacher in San Francisco connected me with one of her teachers in Beijing at the Central Conservatory named Huang He. I went and studied with him for 3 summers and learned some of my favorite pieces which were written by him.
Was that your first visit to Beijing when you went there?
I had actually gone back to Beijing almost every other year of my life to visit my mom's side of the family. So after high school, I went to Harvard for university, and I thought about studying music, but at the time, I didn't think it was practical to try to build a career as a player of this instrument that most people had never heard of. And so I ended up pivoting and studying environmental science and public policy. But then Yo-Yo Ma and the Silk Road Ensemble changed my life. They're the first group in which I had seen a Chinese instrument playing on the same stage as violinists and cellists. The Silk Road Ensemble then launched my career by featuring me on their Grammy-winning album Sing Me Home, having me tour with them in China and Canada and the US, playing at venues like Lincoln Center.
And Yo-Yo Ma is such an extraordinary performer. He is a great, great musician. There is a real sense of getting back to nature, peace and tranquility, and I know that you've brought those ideas into your compositions.
Music has always been connected to nature for me because of the repertoire I grew up playing. When I was in college, I studied environmental science and public policy, and I played music on the side, but I didn't quite understand how I could bridge those two sides of myself again until I started writing my own songs.
How do you think we can make the yangqin better known? Does it start in schools, or where do we begin with this process?
I co-founded an artist collective here in London called Tangram with a British Chinese composer named Alex Ho. And we see ourselves as a new music movement catalyzing transnational imagination and celebrating the vitality of Chinese culture.
That sounds brilliant. I was very lucky to be at the Yehudi Menuhin School from the age of 8 until 18, and Yehudi Menuhin was so interested in traversing these different boundaries, if you like, where here's the Western music and here's Indian music and here's Chinese music. And of course he used to vibe with Ravi Shankar and Stefan Grappelli and jazz. At the end of the day, we are all human beings. We all love to hear music. We often love to sing and dance. It's just a natural expression of who we are. Reylon, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful journey of diversity and bringing everything back together.
I am James Chow. You're watching The China Current. Follow us on social media at The China Current.